Hello, Jamie Novak, your holiday organizing specialist, and I thought today was the perfect day to just check in with you as a little bit of a recap. We're a couple of weeks into our lessons now, and I know sometimes we can start to feel like we're a little bit behind on the lessons themselves, and I thought it was really just the perfect time to check in and say, how's it going? The holiday handbook, we talked about that so early on, and if you sort of fall into the perfectionist category, you may have put off preparing your holiday handbook because you wanted it to be so perfect. And if that's the case, then I'd encourage you to sort of just put it together, or if it's together, start using it. And the great thing about that is, in the process of using it, you'll be able to see what adjustments you'd like to make. There's no way you could possibly know all of the right tabs that you want to have and what labels you need in there until you use it and realize, oh wait, I need a tab for that. So it really is, you have to use it to get to know what you need in there. And it's a wonderful tool. So that holiday handbook, if you haven't put it together or you're afraid to write in it, today's the day to really take charge and pull it out and start using it. Or use it more if you've been using it, but it's been sitting on the counter under a pile of mail. So pull that out and really make use of it. It's really a wonderful tool. And of course, we've also covered the budget. And did you get some sort of a range where you want to fall into the budget? Maybe you didn't feel like you really wanted to fill out the whole worksheet just yet. You're kind of easing into it, and that's perfectly fine. But we need to have some sort of a number that we're aiming to stay under, which is, really important. We also were talking gifts and greeting cards, and it might sound like so early, and why in the world are we talking about this stuff even before Halloween has hit? But it is the absolute right time to talk about it, because after Halloween it can start to feel like a little bit of a whirlwind. So anything that you can get done now before the holidays really get into full swing means it's one less thing you have to do later. So if you've never prepared or planned this far in advance, it might sound like wildly early, but I promise you it's not. And of course, the calendar. Did you add in manicure, hair appointments, babysitter, rug cleaning, house cleaning, whatever's in your budget and you really wanted to get on the calendar? Day trips, just driving around to see the lights one night with hot cocoa in a thermos, that kind of a thing. And of course, the most important is just blocking out some white space. That's a time where you're going to either fill it because you're busy and you need the extra time, or that's the time where you're really going to enjoy and savor the holiday, where you don't have anything planned, you've got some downtime, and you can take a nap, you can watch a holiday movie, you can catch up with friends, you can wrap gifts, whatever it is that really allows you to be there in the moment and enjoying and savoring the holiday that before you would have felt rushed. So blocking off time on your calendar now, just randomly go through your calendar, put X's through some evenings, some Saturdays, some Sundays, whatever works for you to really block off that time. We don't know what we're going to fill it with yet, but we know we're going to need that time for rest and relaxation and really enjoying when we're in the holiday season. And your to-do list. I know we've talked about this one, and it's so tempting to fill that list with all sorts of things, and that's a recipe for disaster. We know that a really long to-do list just sets you up to fail. What does work is choosing one holiday-themed task and adding that to your everyday to-do list. You've already got a bunch of stuff happening. Add one more task and make it holiday themed, and that little step each and every day, one little extra thing, really sets you up for a wildly successful holiday season because you've prepared and planned in advance. So we touched on the perfectionism, the idea of feeling like, well, I want to have my holiday handbook just right, or I want to get the exact number of my budget down to the penny, so it has to be perfect. And it's really not going to be. If you feel that you fall under that perfectionism category, you might want to decide that you're just going to do everything as a good first draft, and you can always go back and perfect it later. Of course, the other P word is procrastination. And I think this is one that we're all familiar with. And so if you find that you've maybe been putting some things off, thinking I'll get to it later, but later's not coming, and that days are ticking down and you're starting to feel a little anxious, then there are a couple of things you can do to really stop that procrastination in its tracks. One would be to set a timer, because we know working for a short focused block of time works. So maybe it's 5 minutes and you set a timer and you go in and you just do something. You don't have to finish it, you just have to get it started. Maybe you're going to do something with a friend where you say, I'm going to call you and let's each write out 20 cards, then we'll call each other back and really hold each other accountable for our success in that way. If you feel like calling a friend is a little strange, then feel free to drop me an email. Say, look, I'm going in, I'm doing this, and then drop me an email and let me know you did it. And you're going to have to do it because you told me that you were going to, and I'm going to be waiting to hear about your success on the other end. So that can also work as kind of reward, where you say, you know what, I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to go get a pumpkin latte, or I'm going to watch my favorite television show, but guilt-free, because I won't be feeling like I should be doing something else because I just did something towards the holidays. So this is what it's all about. One small task every day focused on the holidays so that you get more done now in advance of the rush. And I know it might sound a little wild and crazy to be doing so many of these things early on, but that's really where we see the success, where you've planned in advance, and if you haven't done it before, it may sound a little strange, but just keep going with it. The last thing I'd like to leave you off with today is this thought, and that is to really stop and recognize your accomplishments, and not to diminish them or dismiss them by saying, well, sure, I put together my budget and my holiday handbook, but look at all there is still left to do. There's always going to be more. That's just life. And it is so important to stop, recognize what you've accomplished, and then end your sentence there, and don't get caught up in focusing on all there is left to do. We really want to recognize that you are making accomplishments, you are getting things done. And what we want to do is to realize that you're doing it, and then to just continue to do more of that. It is so easy to just say, oh, sure, yeah, that was a little something I did. But that little something is what's going to make all the difference coming up so that you can really enjoy the holidays. So if you'd like to take a moment now and just count up on, 5 or 10 fingers, what have you accomplished? And then stop the sentence there. And we'll work on all the other stuff together. That's why we're working on these lessons on a weekly basis. But the fact is, there's a lot that you're doing, and it might sound so small and so trivial, and why even recognize it, but that's the stuff that makes the difference. So I'm thrilled to hear about your successes and to really hold you accountable as we move forward through our lessons. And I'm always wishing you a wishful, peaceful, relaxing, and enjoyable holiday. So this has been our tip for the week, and I will see you again on Saturday with our next lesson. Until then, I'm wishing you a clutter-free day.